It is glow time. What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. It's your girl, Shaquila Stewart, your premier confidence and presence coach and founder of Walk This Way Movement, Inc. I am so excited today because I am giving you tools to start and create your very own podcast. I am so excited because the guest today, she is no other than writer, director, producer, and podcast host of Parables from the Projects, Mia Hall. Guys, this woman is so amazing. She has produced content for the Steve Harvey show. She has produced, she has a nonprofit company called Brown Girls Glow. She went to Harvard. She is an amazing woman of God. She's an amazing mentor. So you are going to get some amazing nuggets from this woman today. I cannot wait for her to jump on the call. So if you are a person who has an audience or a book or a message and you've been wanting to start a podcast, but maybe you don't know how, today is the day that you will get the tools so that you can walk towards that direction. I'm excited as well because I know I'm a person, I want to start a podcast, but at times it can be so, you just don't know what to do. So with our guest on the show today, she is going to give us tools on how to start our very own podcast and how you can build your tribe and how you can influence your audience on a deeper level. And so I remember growing up, my favorite talk show host was Oprah Winfrey. I used to sit down on Channel 7 at 9 o'clock a.m. when I was a kid. I was about 6 years old. And I would have my milk in a glass, and I would sit next to my grandmother with my legs crossed. And we would watch the Oprah Winfrey show. And the commercial was like, it's 9 o'clock. Where's everybody going? Oprah's on. Come on, Oprah's on. So that was my favorite show growing up. And funny story, Oprah and I share the same birthday. So just putting it out there. But I cannot wait for Mia to join. She will be joining us in 1 second. So if you have any questions, make sure you put those questions in the comments because we want to answer all the questions that you will have for us tonight. And so let's get ready. So again, we are waiting on Mia Hall to come through. She is a writer. She is a director. She is a producer. She graduated from Harvard. And she also has a podcast out called Parables from the Projects. And so make sure you check it out because we actually did an episode together as well. And it's really good. It's really powerful. So I can't wait for you to hear her and just hear the different things that she has to say about starting a podcast. And so also before she gets on here, just know that May is National Foster Care Awareness Month. So you know for the month of May, we are empowering youth who are in the foster care system to let them know how valuable they are through the One Pearl campaign. So if you would like to join us, purchase a pearl at www.shakilastewart.com and we will give that pearl to a young girl who is in the foster care system to let her know how valuable she is, that she's not forgotten about, and that she is special and that she is loved. So we want to give back as much as we can this month as well. And make sure you follow Brown Girls Glow as well. That's Mia Hall's mentoring program for young girls to go after their dreams and goals as well. So we are all about empowerment and positivity. And we just can't wait for you to join us. And we can't wait to answer your questions that you may have about starting a podcast, from the covers. I know a lot of people, when they produce their podcast, they're looking for different cover titles and the name of the podcast, the different colors they want to use, maybe the topics that you will have for starting a podcast. And so we are very excited about that tonight. So I cannot wait. I'm in LA, and so I know I'm saying this tonight, but it's still very nice outside. So we are so ready. So in the comments below, put some of your podcast names in there so that people who are watching, they can follow you as well if you have a podcast. And also, if you have a website, if you have any books or anything that you want to promote right now, you can promote your information in the comments and we will check you out as well. So let's go. And I think Mia has joined. Yes, so we are so excited to get Mia on. Let's go, Mia, writer, director, producer, podcast. Let's go.
Hey, hey.
Hey, 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 hey. There she is. There she is, ladies. The one and only Mia Hall. Yes.
Hey, what's going on, ladies? Hello, everyone. Welcome in the room. Come on in the room. I just read something where they were talking about that song. Actually, it's called Anesthesia in the Blood of Jesus.
Okay.
And they were talking about a song where they said, Jesus is my doctor. And they were inviting him to come on in the room. So yes, man, what's up? What's up? I see my LA peeps in there. What's going on, y'all? So yes, thank you so much, Shaquila, for having me today. I appreciate you.
Of course, of course. I'm so excited to have you on here today because so many people want to start a podcast. They are ready to glow up, but they just don't know how. And you
Yes.
have so much experience. So much experience in front of an audience. I mean, you went to Harvard, you are a writer, you are a director, you are a producer, and you
Yes.
have your very own podcast, Parables from the Projects. And so you
Yes.
want to give back to us today and show us how to start a podcast. So I'm so excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up again for your girl, Mia Hall. She about to drop some gems. So,
Oh,
Mia,
thank you
podcasting.
so much. Yes.
Tell us about a podcast. Like, if you want to start a podcast, what is it all about? What kind of personality do you need in order to start a podcast?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, tell your story, right? I don't think that, you know, all the only personality you need is the will to win, right? The will to be consistent, the will to get up and do it, week in or, time in and time out, because a lot of people pre-record their podcast and they just say, you know what, I'm going to come out with it for this amount of time. So I really think that anyone can start a podcast. Anyone can build their brand through media. What's up, Paris and Ashley? But yes, yes.
So,
What's up, Miss Lady?
so
So
what
yes, I think that anyone can build their podcast. Sorry, I got distracted by the people that were coming in the room. I got to give my people their shout outs, but yes, I think that anybody can start a podcast. It's simple. My dad and I, we started on freeconferencecall.com.
okay.
Okay. So yeah, so that's how long that we've been doing it. At first, for a long time we wanted to write a film. And we used to meet off and on, and of course life be life in, as they say. And we just never really got the full screenplay finished. And when I moved to LA, I started seeing a lot of people coming out with podcasts, and I was like, we could talk a lot. I was like, my dad could talk, I talk, sometimes all we do is talk. So I was like, why don't we basically like record our meetings and put them in a podcast format for people to enjoy. So now, almost 2,000 downloads later, 40 episodes. We've had a good run for the last, it'll be 5 years this year in June.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing. Like anytime
Thank
you
you.
start something new, it's amazing. But to do it with your father, I'm sure that's on another level of being vulnerable. And so when we think about a podcast, what exactly is a podcast though? Like what makes it different from this live video here? What makes it different from a talk show? What makes it different from radio? What is a podcast?
Right. So I think what makes it different, right, is, it is like a radio show. It is, it can be, you can call it, IG Lives. Of course, people usually describe it as um, a series where, some person is telling stories, right? And usually, traditionally, people post it on a podcast platform, right? So now they have platforms, specifically for podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and things like that. But honestly, it can really be what you make it, I believe, because as long as you have a series, like if I had a series on Instagram Live, that could be my podcast because I have a series where I'm telling stories and I'm speaking, either on camera or, I mean, if I was doing it on IG Live, I'm on camera, but it can be on camera, it could be off camera, and you're telling your story, right, in a series, one that is consistent, one that is more than one episode, or sometimes people do podcast specials, right, a podcast live episode. So it's really telling your story.
And now, so does each episode of your podcast, does it have to be a certain amount of time? Can it be 5 minutes? Can it be 10 minutes? Does it have to be an hour? So how long does it have to be in order to make it a series?
Yes. Great question. That's really up to you. You know what I mean? If you want to say on average, you know what I mean? Like how long is a podcast? Usually about 30 minutes to an hour. More podcasts are closer to 30 minutes. People usually, traditionally or statistically speaking, people listen to podcasts, usually in the beginning of the week and on their way to work. So the best time they say to post a podcast would be like, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., because people listen to it like they would a morning radio show because, they want to listen to it while they're getting ready or while they're getting dressed and on their way to work to motivate them to get the week started off right, right? So that's, so yeah, so I would say about 30 minutes, you get it in and out, but I wouldn't let the time stop you from doing a podcast. I wouldn't let the amount of time that you spend on your episodes. Maybe you only have 5 minutes, right? Our first episode was 15 minutes because we were just introducing the podcast. But for me, what I wanted to do was create a series so that I could commit to something at one time, right? So I said, you know what? We're going to do 10 episodes per season, because I knew that my dad and I, look, we can commit to 10 episodes. And we did that, and they varied as far as the timing. I tried to keep it under an hour usually, and it usually was, right? 45 minutes to an hour. But yeah, that's really up to you. But you set your amount. You could do 5 episodes. If you want to do 5 minute episodes and post them on a podcast platform, you can through anchor.fm. It's a free platform where you could post your podcast, and they don't have, a time limit. So you can, I mean, they have an amount of space, so you can't go over that amount for the space. But as far as like the minimum, it's really up to you. And as long as you could get what you want to say across.
That's amazing. And so how would you tell someone to build their followers through their podcast? Like, do they promote it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook? Like, what are ways that you can promote your podcast once you put it out?
Right. So once you put your podcast out, you can promote it on all platforms, but traditionally people do say, and I can attest to, really building a consistent and strong following on one platform is helpful. Now you can try to do everything at once, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed, right? I don't like when people can get overwhelmed with, oh, especially if you're just starting out on social media. Now, if you already have a platform that you've built on TikTok, on Instagram, on another platform, then go ahead and promote it to your community. Email is great as well because when Instagram is down, when Facebook is down, when all these things are down, usually email is not down. Usually your website is not down. You know what I mean? So make sure you build up that email list so that you can, be able to promote your podcast in that way. And make sure that you tell people to subscribe to your email list on your podcast. Also have them subscribe to your YouTube page.
Okay. And so one, oh, you want to speak to somebody else?
No, I just you can
Hey,
just wave at the.
hey. So once you put your podcast out, you promote it. How is it creating the content for it? Is it just, are you completely honest? Like, what is the process of creating your content, or how do you create your content for your podcast?
Right. So great questions. So we like to plan in advance just the story that we're going to tell. At least for my dad and I's podcast, we will. you know, have a phone call because we live in different states. So we'll have a phone call, and say, hey, this is the story that we want to tell today. We usually tell stories from the 80s and 90s. So we'll pick, one subject that we want to go to. And we also, before we started our podcast, we did think about the segments. So that's another thing that you want to think about as far as, the content. Perhaps you don't have to, but it would be helpful. People like and enjoy segments. So, your opener, what's something you're going to talk about, every podcast. You're going to have your intro. How are you going to summarize, what the podcast is about? Then, you want to have your, the meat of the podcast, what is it? What subjects are you talking about? And then, maybe a closer, something that you do every time you close. And then, of course, making sure you share all your social media platforms and everything that where people can follow you and subscribe and stay tuned to the podcast and leave a review. Apple reviews are very important on podcasts because they raise visibility. So I would also say that, yeah, so that's a way that you can plan out the content, but then you can also have guests, right? So the podcast that I produce is called Parenting Up. And so I help the host, Jay Smiles, to find guests to be able to, bring in other people so that she can interview them. And she usually comes up with her questions. She has a discovery call before she talks to her guests, just to, make sure the vibes are right. And then we schedule the interview. So, and in that time, she also has a questionnaire. So, she'll know kind of the subjects that she wants to talk about with them before she starts the podcast.
That's amazing. So being a podcast host is very serious on another level. It's so much going on behind the scenes to bring it forth to the audience. And so speaking of being a producer of a podcast, tell us about It's Time to Glow. Tell us about your event.
Yes, it's glow time. Yes.
Yes.
So we startnow.eventbrite.com. Make sure you all go check it out. But so it is an event. I'm going to host it here live in Atlanta on Saturday, May 11th. But I am also having it available online for people who want to tune in if they don't live in the Atlanta area for a discounted price. So yes. So that event is really because so many people ask me, well, I have some questions about, starting a podcast and, I want to do, my media strategy. I really want to, promote my brand on TikTok or, on social media. Can you help me? Or, they might want to find other people like the video that I posted, like find your tribe. Do you have accountability partners? Are you in a group? Are you in a program, to where you're with people, you're with a tribe that is looking to start their media brand or continue to build their media brand, their podcast. So, I want this to be a place where you can start your podcast, you can learn from me, individual coaching, group coaching, because I'm only inviting it won't go past 15 people
Okay.
total. So, when you're online, when you're in person, it won't go past 15 people online or in person. And so, I'll be able to coach you in the process of, starting your podcast, building your media brand, whatever you need for those 4 hours, I am yours. So, bringing my, almost 20 years of media experience to Atlanta, to you, to be able to, help you get started, to help you to start now.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So you said you have over 20 years of media experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 40. Yeah, I mean, I've been working. I joined the media team at my church in in Hampton, Virginia, when I was, dang, but yeah, 20, yeah, about 20 years, because I'm about to give away my age, but but I'm happy. I'm happy to be alive. But yeah, been working in media for a long time.
And
Black
so,
Enterprise. I started at Black Enterprise in 2011. I was doing a blog for about 2 years before that. Um, I had my YouTube page has been up since I think 2009. I saw the other day, so that has been like 15 years almost that I've had a YouTube, and have been posting content on YouTube. So I worked at NBC News as an associate producer. See some of my media friends in here. But yeah, I worked at NBC News as associate producer. They let me take over their Snapchat multiple times at the All-Star game, at HBCU classic football games. So yeah, I mean, I've covered about 5 or 6 All-Stars. Just run the gamut, ran the gamut. Like Nike flew me out to Oregon to cover their event that they had with the University of Oregon. So, just a lot of media experience. I worked with Steve Harvey, of course, on his talk show and the podcast that, I really, during the pandemic, I said that we should do Vault Empowers talks, right? I came up with a proposal. For Mr. Harvey to speak to people and talk to them about their life and their careers, and I had a whole outline and they approved it. And now it's a podcast led by his daughter Brandy Harvey called Vault Empowers Talks. So y'all go follow and support Vault Empowers Talks too. But yeah, it's
Why are we playing with you, Mia? Why they playing with you? Ladies and gentlemen, did y'all just
so
hear
funny.
that? No, I'm not. I'm serious. I'm smiling, but I'm so serious. Did you guys just hear what she said? The Vault Empowers podcast, that's Steve Harvey. She was the one who pitched that idea to Steve Harvey. And so that's a global podcast now. So if she did that for Steve Harvey, imagine what she can do for
Yeah.
you. Like, that's
Yes.
simply
Yes.
amazing. Like, if she did that for the mogul, Steve Harvey, like, this is an opportunity to work with someone who has not only started her own podcast, but helped someone in the media become prosperous, and they already had a platform. How do you help someone who already have a media platform start a podcast?
Right.
And that's what she's done. So she wants to help you do that with your company as well. So if you are in the Atlanta area, or no matter where you are, this is going to be on Zoom as well. So you need to be in that room. You need to be in that room networking. You need to be in that room pulling off that 20 years of experience of what she has to offer, because she's not going to give you all the information here right now. But when you get in that room, you can ask as many questions as you want to, and you'll pull out things within her that she didn't even know that was there, because she has so much experience. So whether you want to do the news, whether you want to work in schools, whether you are in the entertainment industry and you would like to start a podcast to get to your audience and take it to the next level, this is the person that you need to connect with. So
go, y'all.
Oh my God, it's time to glow. I feel like I just glowed up. How do you say it, girl? I feel like you just helped me glow. That's amazing with the work that you're doing. And I actually was a host on one of the interviews for the Steve Harvey podcast. And I never knew that you were the brain behind putting that together. And so, guys, before she go to another mogul, you better
Catch me now.
What date is the your event?
Saturday, May 11th. Yes, shout out to the Vault team, for all they're continuing to do now. Yes, without their help, of course, it couldn't have been possible. But yeah, I definitely remember, making that proposal, during the pandemic, like, okay, we got to do something. We were going to have a live event. And of course, the pandemic happened, so we had to shift. So we shifted to online programs, and I was like, well, we should have these Vault Empowers talks, and yep, and so they did 5 episodes with Mr. Harvey. He actually did 6, but they did 5, like, kind of, once everything was opened up. I was even able to shoot a special one with him and oh my gosh, why am I forgetting his name? John Maxwell. John Maxwell here in Atlanta, you know what I mean? So, we did a 1-day shoot course with them. So even if you want to start a course, I have experience in that too. I really want to be able to bring everybody in one place to ask me all the questions that you need, get the coaching. It's going to be like a VIP day, but in a group, So in a very small group setting, you're going to be able to ask me any questions that you need, anything you think about getting started, just let me know.
Yes, well, Mia, I'm so proud of you. Like,
Thank you.
I pray that this event is so successful. You are already successful. You have so much to offer. So I pray that the right people are in the room. You need to really promote this more and more and more. I had no idea just about the courses that you started and just the proposals that you pushed to these large entertainment entities. And so for what you're giving out on the 11th, it's definitely a steal. And yeah, so I don't know if you want to say something else to anybody, but if they want to start a podcast, this is the girl to go to. If you want to start a course for your company, this, I'm telling you guys, she is very good in content creating. Like that's a very strong point that she has is content creating. So even if you are a business owner and you need someone to help you create your content, this is the person to go to. As she said before, she has worked All Star, Nike, Steve Harvey, um, who else?
NBC, yep, everybody,
NBC. Like she
everybody,
has
yep,
done
yep.
this for
Slam
over.
Magazine wrote several articles for them. ESPNW, shout out to Adina. Um, yeah, shout
Just
out to
Black
my guys,
Enterprise.
Black
So
Enterprise.
so
Yeah.
she has just been everywhere doing this, and so you can be the next person. Don't let me get on here marketing.
Ah,
No. You can be her next Steve
hey,
Harvey. No, I'm just
listen,
learning. But for
listen.
real, you can be the next person that she builds this amazing course for. And I just want to tell you though, once she builds this for you, of course you have to do the work. And just by me connecting to her, I was able to get in Black Enterprise magazine to promote my company as well and to promote my workshop. So again, if you just even go for the network opportunity on the 11th of May, you'll never know what will come out of this. So,
Exactly. And I just want to, from thank you first of all for coming on. Anytime I had a show, I definitely invited Shaquila because she is a wealth of knowledge. She is a multipreneur. She is, a businesswoman extraordinaire, speaker, dancer, actress, and a great accountability partner. What up, Bobby? But yep. So who was on my podcast before? Bobby Yay Jones was on my podcast before. Power was from the projects. And yeah, so I want to thank you for having me on your live. I, definitely appreciate your time. And I appreciate everybody who was on my web series as well. So, so in content, of course, right? There is, hey, is scripted content and unscripted content, right? And
okay.
so this scripted content, this unscripted content is what, I've been doing for years. So my first web series was called Mia's Full Court Press. And that's really where I interviewed Thomas Q. Jones, everybody for Black Enterprise. I used to put them on YouTube at Mia's Full Court Press. And then once I wrote an article on how Hampton prepared me to go to Harvard. I said that Hampton fortified me with the confidence to be able to apply and go to Harvard. And that article, like, pretty much went viral. It started like showing up on websites everywhere. And my friend Gabby and I were wondering, like, how can we keep this energy? Because everybody feels like their HBCU prepared them for something. So we said, let's call it HBCU Prime because my HBCU primed me for something. So I was able to record 4 episodes, one of which, was with Rodney Rakai, who is doing a lot of work all over in movies and everywhere. I was Steve Harvey, Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, Dr. Eric Thomas. He was on the episode. Ryan Boyd was on the episode, who's also doing amazing things all over the country, all over the world. And yeah, just several other guests. We had Rob Hill Sr. As well, author, relationship advisor. So yeah, so HBCU Prime. We still have the Instagram, and we're still going with that. But that was another show that we started, and now I have Brown Girls Glow. So I have a passion. Anybody that knows me for real knows that I have a passion for high school girls and really being able to pour into them, show them how I went from the hood to Harvard, show them really how to just dream big, take their education seriously, and get mentors to take them from one step to the other. So Brown Girls Glow Live Live is another, basically like a podcast. It's a web series, but but we, talk to different career women. Thank you for joining us. We have different career women come on there. So that's already 4 shows. And then, like I said, Parenting Up podcast, producing that. Ball Powers was producing that. And just, I love this work. Definitely love young women, but I love storytelling. So if you want to tell your story, share your story, whether that's through a podcast, through a web series, on social media, join me, join us, come with the gang. And if you have any questions, of course, please feel free to inbox me. Let me know.
Yes, well, I'm definitely empowered. I'm definitely inspired. I love the work that you're doing to empower women, to empower teens, to empower artists, and just to empower your community in general, and to empower families. And so I cannot wait to hear about your podcast event and the people that come on. So thank you for just allowing my audience to get a chance to know about your program that's coming up. I love you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Shaquilla Stewart, your premier confidence and presence coach and founder of Walk This Way movement. We help women, teens, and artists grow in their self-esteem and confidence so that they can live their full potential. So check us out this month for Foster Care Awareness Month.
Oh, that's awesome. May is Foster Care Awareness Month?
Yeah, so May is Foster Care Awareness Month, and we are actually selling one pearls and giving them to girls who are in the foster care system to affirm their value, letting them know that they are valuable and they are not forgotten about. So if you would like to partner with us, anybody that's listening right now, to help empower a girl who's in the foster care system who isn't raised with her mother,
I would love
go to ShaquillaStewart.com and purchase a pearl, because we want to let her know that she's valuable and she's not forgotten. But I also want to make this clear. Everybody in foster care does not feel that they need a pearl. Some of them, a lot of them have confidence and self-esteem. Yeah. But my personal background was that I was in foster care briefly as a child and wasn't raised with my parents. And I did deal with not feeling valuable at times. So my goal is to speak to that girl. But I always want to make it clear that everybody doesn't feel that way. Yeah. But I want to speak to the ones who did, to let her know that you are valuable, you are loved, and that you are strong. So continue to promote positivity. And maybe, Mia, just hearing you speak today, maybe I need to start a podcast. Maybe you can put me on like you did Steve Harvey. But I know it's going to cost me some change. What you told me today, I'm going to have to take out a loan to work with you. But,
Elizabeth, you got it. You got it. I know you're already there balling with your pearls and whatnot. I know you balling, so you got it.
No, I need a grant to work with you, but for real, Mia, all jokes aside, I don't know the word that I can speak. I don't have the language to say, but I really just speak life to what you're doing. And I pray that you see yourself. I pray that you see everything. I pray that you watch this video again and see all of the gifts and talents that you have to offer in just your journey, and that you bring it all together and see how it can be global. And maybe you need your own entertainment, something. I don't know, but you just have so much experience. You have so much to offer. So I know you're starting with the podcast and teaching us how to start our own. And I just hope that the right people are in the room to get the richness of what you have to offer. And that's what I want to let my audience know too before we go, is that I always tell artists, don't focus on the fame. Focus on developing your talent, and the fame will come. So this is a moment where you don't have a big name like we think you would, but you got so much wealth right now for people that is crazy. That whoever would jump on, they are going to get a wealth of information. So I just hope that people are listening. I hope that you promote the mess out of this, because you got a lot to give to people. And they're going to benefit from this. So I just pray that the right person is in a room. And I know I can go on and on and on, but just know, and I didn't mean to say like you not big, because you are big, you are a star, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. But I'm just saying, I want people to get it. Like, Don't focus on names. Like, look and see who got the experience, who giving out information, so that people can grow to their next level. So you go, girl. I
I
love
love
you,
you.
and
Love you too.
congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all visit startnow.eventbrite.com. Make sure you follow me at Mia Hall TV. Subscribe to my YouTube at Mia Hall TV. And I'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Save this.
All
Save
right.
it.
See you guys on the 11th in
Thank
Atlanta.
you.
Y'all better be there in Atlanta on the 11th, because the price going up after that.
Listen, are you going to post this to your thing? Post
Yes.
to, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. And I'll come.
Okay.